So, Dr. Tammy, why call it the Naked Doctor?
Well, it's the naked truth about health, wellness, and lifestyle, but it's also fun not to wear clothes in the studio.
That is right.
Let me get this straight.
Hi, welcome back to the Naked Doctor Show. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
And we are excited. We have a great show today.
Yes, we do.
We have a fabulous guest. Her name is Keisha Rivers, Shorty.
Yes.
And she is a consultant and a life coach, and she really helps people get on track.
Yeah, which is lots of people are looking for a way to get on track.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, so many people feel overwhelmed. That's a really big thing. I've started the conscious engineering workshops now, so I'm helping people get on track.
Yeah.
Had a great workshop this week, and it was very, very exciting. I really had some people step in through some insights and things into their life, so that's always a good feeling.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
People are coming through with stuff, and then and we interviewed the people from Theropods.
Yes.
Float,
oh my gosh, that was so much fun too.
Teaching me a little bit about getting back in there. And doing
because you should
therapy.
float, Tammy. That was really, really cool.
I know.
I enjoyed
need to
it.
Float. Yes. And so I know in the future I want to definitely do a show about some of the insights you had while you were
Oh, yeah,
floating
while
and
I
stuff
was
like
floating,
that. Yeah.
yes, because it's so nice to get to that meditative space and ask questions and get answers. So those are fun to talk about too.
And we can totally integrate that too into the show today, which is
Yes,
kind of
because it
exciting
all
as
had
well.
to do with, understanding how you create your own reality and that it's all based on the choices that you make.
Mm-hmm.
So it just furthered that for me, which is always nice to feel confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you're on the right track. Like we were saying, getting on the right track.
Yes. So some of the things that Keisha helps people with is she's also a speaker and author. So she's been a very busy girl. I was just teasing her a minute ago. I was just talking to her about she's been busy, and she said that's an understatement. But she really helps people fuel their passion and align their purpose and build their legacy. And so that's a really exciting thing to do. As you think about your more basic needs are just kind of eating, drinking,
food, shelter. Yeah.
Then our higher needs come in for significance and, building our legacy and that sort of thing. So hopefully people are kind of moving into that kind of area where they're starting to think more, as they're kind of working maybe through us or, through other life coaches.
Yeah, on their
and
own
like
journey. That self-reflection where you sort of step back and look at things from a bigger picture and say, wow, where am I going? Do I want to continue the direction I'm going in, or do I need to change? And if you're making a change, sometimes the decision to make the change is the first thing, but then you need some guidance often after that. So that's where we try to come together and offer suggestions and talk about our own paths.
Yeah.
We're very honest about that on this show.
I know. I'm just like, I've been really mindful these past 2 weeks as this new tool, this conscious engineering tool has come to me, and trying to be really mindful about not complaining, not blaming, and just taking responsibility. And when I want something, just stepping up and stop saying, well, I can't because of this and all my limiting beliefs, and I'm waiting on this, and I get, and so, just taking inspired action, and that's where I really want to be. And I keep having all these kind of little triggers come up, that I'm thinking, am I really where I want to be? And sometimes not so much. And we had a little friend spending the night with, my son Donnie last night. And, I'm trying to be this mindful parent. And we had this great evening where we went to, bowling, and the kids played. And pretty much they just whined and complained through the whole thing. Like, I'm tired, I'm hungry. And I'm like, we just dropped like $100 on you kids.
We're trying to, look, I'm paying for this fun. You better have fun.
And I'm like, I reflected on that. And this morning, I was working on another coaching interview for a website, and trying to Skype and trying to record it. And the kids are screaming at the top of their lungs in the next room, and I'm like, I just got so triggered, and I just ran out there and I'm like, some people are trying to work here.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh. It's just...
So were they having more fun screaming than they were at the bowling alley the night before?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I mean? I wonder that. I'm like, now they're having fun. Now they're having fun for free after I spent $100 last night trying to make them have fun. That's kind of an interesting thing there.
Well, I'm not sure.
What was really triggering you there, Tammy?
I I got to look at that. I really got to look at that, you know? My inflicted
wait,
fun.
wait a minute. Because you were really trying to schedule that fun. You were trying to make that fun fit in to what your schedule was. And kids really don't roll that way. Fun happens spontaneously.
Yeah.
They decide when it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You got two different rhythms that were kind of crossing paths there,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, a lot of subconscious stuff kind of popping up.
Yeah, but when you are to a place where you say, okay, so I'm moving past, I'm understanding that I have triggers, but I'm going to be the person that makes the right choice in the moment. Mm-hmm. And then the next trigger comes at you. That's when the rubber meets the road, because now you're conscious of that. You're not just rolling through that going, wow, this is such a crappy day. Like, you can look back and see every single moment in that day where you were feeling a little off and you knew something was coming, or you made it. And that's what you look at and say, what am I going to do the next time that happens? How am I going to react to that? Once again, that rubber's going to meet the road to give you the chance to make that choice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then once you're conscious of it, you know better. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're like, I know better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why you want to let yourself play on those lower vibrating stages?
Yeah, because it's a habit.
It's a habit.
It's just like kicking smoking or, eating too much when you feel bad or whatever. It's just one of those habits. We have thought habits like everything else. Mm-hmm. But we wouldn't be having this conversation if we weren't on the path towards getting a hold of that. I don't want to say control of that, just being conscious to the point where you can direct your thoughts.
Make a different choice.
Yeah. Take those breaths that we talk about, because the breath is the bridge. Mm-hmm. Take that moment, take those deep breaths, and then decide instead of react. Ooh.
Goosebumps.
Ta-da.
All right, well, let's make that a little short intro today.
Yeah,
and
that was
let's go ahead
good.
and bring Keisha on, because she's got some really good stuff I want to start her sharing.
Yes.
So let's take a little break, and we'll be right back with the Naked Doctor and Keisha Rivers Shorty. Welcome back to the Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
And we have a great show today for you.
Yes.
We have a wonderful guest, Keisha Rivers Shorty.
Yes.
She's a very dynamic speaker, author, and just amazing kind
all
of
around awesome life coach type of
coach, self-help,
cool girl.
Multiple companies and profit, not-for-profit. I've been kind of playing around on her websites and stuff and looking at all the stuff she's been doing. And welcome, Keisha. So excited to have you this morning.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
So, Keisha, what would you say is your biggest motivator? What's your big kind of claim to fame that, your passion that gets you up every morning and gets you out talking to people and sharing your story?
Well, my thing is I'm a teacher or an educator, both by former profession as well as it comes naturally. And so what I find that motivates me and that kind of keeps me going is that unending quest for knowledge. I'm curious by nature. I ask a lot of questions, much to the chagrin of a lot of my friends. But I'm always looking at that why. What is it that makes this work? What is it that makes us tick? What is it that causes people to do what they do? And so I'm always asking all these questions, and I'm always constantly looking for and really absorbing as much knowledge as possible. And because I'm the type that I don't like keeping everything to myself, I love sharing it with other people.
Yeah.
Then every time I find something else out that's really cool or that has really made an impact in my life, then I want to share it with other people, because I don't want you to have to go through the same stuff that I've gone through, because I want your life to be better.
Yeah, really empower them. Take the next step.
Yes. Well, let me ask you this, because that happens. I come from a line of teachers as well. Like, my family was all, my background is, I don't know, there's so much education in my life, and it's all woven in there. And I feel the same way. It's almost sometimes when I'm having an insight, at the same time, my brain is calculating, how would I share this with someone else? Like in the moment. And sometimes I almost have to brush that away and say, okay, Chrissy, you can worry about that later. Just absorb the information. But already I'm like, okay, so if I was going to tell someone else about this, how would I describe? Okay, I'm glad that's not just, I think there's some of us that it's just kind of ingrained that way. Like we're built to share.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And especially when you're what I found is that for some people, depending on where they are in their life's journey, they're either like, oh my gosh, this hit home, I really needed to hear this right now, or they're like, okay, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what you're talking about, you're speaking Greek, please move away slowly.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that kind of, you can see the door shut
away.
behind their eyes. It's like slam, and then you think, it's almost like energetically you feel it bounce right off of them. They're like, nope.
Yep.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I have a really good girlfriend of mine. When I get into, she calls it beast mode, which is how I came up with the name for my beast mode boot camp. Because she's like, okay, wait, you're beasting today. I'm gonna step away.
I'm going to step away from that.
But I love that name too, because it just implies, do you want to be a beast? Do you want to be out there and, manifest your dreams?
Yeah.
I mean, you really
blaze your trail.
You got to be a beast,
Yeah.
and so many times people want to be the victim and they want to be limited and they're just going to make all the excuses and say, well, I can't because. I mean, you've got to be a beast, and you've got to just not let all the voices and all the
and
limitations
being a
speak.
beast doesn't necessarily mean you're knocking people down on your way
No,
through.
no,
You're
no.
just moving them out
Exactly.
of the way. That's really I don't have to knock you down, but I'm going to move you out of my way.
Right. And the whole thing that I found with beast mode is, and I started coining the phrase when I would go on my Skittles binges and be, completely
Skittle
jacked
binges.
up on sugar, and
Yep.
and I would go through these stretches where it was like I seemed so alive, where everything made sense, everything was crystal clear. I was motivated, I was focused, I was determined, I was driven, and really I was in control.
Yeah.
And I was, and not in control in the other sense of the word that I get into when I'm in my perfectionist state, where, I have to make sure that everything is completely, I's dotted and T's crossed exactly the way I want it. But through this aspect of what I call released and ready, where I'm released and all of my potential and all of the things and my gifts and my talents and my abilities are like working on all cylinders.
Yes,
And
like
now
everything's
I'm ready
firing properly together.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever you bring at me, bring it on. I'm good. I got this. I'm ready. I'm fired up. And so when I get into beasting, it's like I don't need external motivation. I don't need someone to remind me about why I'm doing this. I don't need okay, what's my big why, and here's my vision board and all that. When I'm beasting, I'm like, I'm in my zone of who I am and who I'm created to be and what I'm created for. And so a lot of times I keep trying to, I'm like, maybe it's contagious. Maybe I can like rub it off and some people will catch it.
You know what? I think that's true. I really do. Because the more success that I feel, I think what you're describing, I feel that as like being connected. Like in those moments you are really vibrating on the frequency of what you truly are. Like this is a tuning fork that's telling me I am right on the right track of becoming like my truest, most awesome self. And man, when you're in that mode, it does affect the people around you. And those people that really can't deal with that or have had, some pleasure in kind of holding you back from that. Not that that's, not everybody does that, but once in a while it's threatening to the people around you when you really start becoming your true self. And they will either fall by the wayside or come on board and start resonating more with their true self, which is great. I mean, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, you love it when they'll come along with you.
Yeah.
But if they won't,
But if
okay.
they won't, that's
Yeah.
okay.
You
I'm not
can't
going to
let
force
you can't
you,
be a
but
victim.
I'm not going to hold myself back either.
Yeah.
So come along for the ride and be awesome, or catch you later.
Yeah.
That's really how that's going to go.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I had this, I was doing a Released and Ready workshop session one day, and there was a young lady in attendance, and she kept asking me, she's like, well, my friends are not, and my friends are, and my friends are, and I was like, wait a minute, who are you living for? Are you living for you, or are you living for your friends? And she's like, well, I kind of feel bad when I do things really, really great, and I try to celebrate with them, and they
don't want to
seem as if I'm
celebrate.
trying to make them, they're like, well, you're making us look bad.
Yeah.
And I said, no, you're doing what you're supposed to do. And I said, baby, if they can't handle your shine, pass out some shades and keep it going.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
So
That's great.
I mean, because the thing about it is everybody who loves you, everybody who supports you, everybody who's truly in your corner and wants you to be the greatest version of yourself, they'll cheer you along even if you're going on a journey and on a path that's not where they're going.
Yeah.
Because we're not all created the same. You know, we've got different strengths and different abilities and different gifts and different interests. And as long as I'm in my space and in my zone, then you can be in your space and in your zone, and I can celebrate you just the way you're celebrating me.
Yeah.
And we can move forward together, each of us being great in our own right, and it's not going to take away from either one.
Yes, beast mode does not require approval. Really.
Exactly.
You're not living to approve others when you're rolling that way, you know.
I love the saying that the bird on the branch does not worry about the branch breaking because she knows she has wings. I've spent my whole life worried all about the branch.
Yeah.
On so many levels, you know, are people going to like me? Is that going to upset some? And it's not about not being loving or being congruent or being who you truly are. It really is just about stepping into who you are and your power. And when you don't, and you just play small and you just feel a victim to everything, you know, you just create that dynamic to perpetuate that more.
Yeah. I think a big thing that I struggled with was I felt like I did have to get approval from anyone. Like I was very concerned of other people's opinions of me and how they were speaking of me and who was I going to disappoint if I made this decision or how was that going to look? And I realized I would find myself saying things, I would get in this really frustrated place and go, God, I just can't make everybody happy. Regardless of what choice I make, someone's going to be mad about something. And then it clicked. Why are you trying to do that? That's an impossible task to keep all the people in your life in what you would perceive in your mind as an approval space. Like, oh, I want everyone to think I'm perfect. It's like, it does not work that way.
And
So
things
much
keep
energy.
showing up to keep you small too. I know this past week I was doing a workshop on conscious engineering, and you know, I had somebody show up that thought I was doing a hormone talk, and they're like, I thought you were going to be talking about
You're not even
nutrition
talking
and
about what I
hormones."
want to talk about.
And you know, part of me just wanted to go, okay, we'll talk about hormones.
Yeah. I thought this was a cooking class. Well, let me go get some eggs.
Yeah. And you just have to kind of be true to where you're at in that moment.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I'm happy to talk.
Well, maybe they
hormones
learned
later with you.
something that they, you know, didn't expect to learn, but they learned it anyway.
Well, I hope
there.
so. Yeah. I said, I hope you're in the right place. Yeah. So, Keisha, share with us a little bit. I love what you have, your 5 R's that you sent me about released and ready. I think it'd be great to kind of outline that a little bit and kind of help people with, you know, the process of how they're really going to kind of step into their new path. You want to kind of walk through those with us?
Yeah, and I came up with Released and Ready. It was actually as a result of a major health scare. I ended up having 3 major surgeries in 3.5 weeks, and I was in the hospital and not sure if I was going to make it.
Wow.
And so after I got out, and I had to I was still on 32 pills a day, and you know, my eyesight was horrible and my hair was falling out, and all of the things that I had built in terms of, you talk about needing approval, but I had built this company and this persona of success, quote unquote. And then I realized, lying there and not knowing if I was going to be able to continue doing that, I was like, you know what? I really was playing small. I was not playing my full deck of cards. I wasn't completely releasing myself to be who I needed to be. And so I decided I wanted to make a change in my life. And so this was something that came to me because I run into so many people who are like, well, I've been living this version of what people think for so long. How do I release my inner me to be who I really am? And so I came up with these 5 R's, and there's 5 steps. And you go through it with any major change that you need to make, whether it's career, personal, relationship-wise, what have you. So the first one is to reflect on your patterns. We all have patterns. We all have things that we fall back into, that we repeat over and over again, because that's our safety zone. Whether it's good or it's bad, those are patterns and behavior that become a comfort to us. So we have to reflect on what exactly are our patterns. What are the things that we always do? And write them down. And with all of this, you have to write it down. The second one is redirect your path. once you understand what your patterns are and you understand the direction that you're going, now you have to make a change. You have to do something different. If I know that my pattern is that I tend to binge eat whenever I get depressed, and I'm depressed right now, I'm watching Netflix and there's a gallon of ice cream next to me, okay, I need to redirect. So I need to do something different in the moment. The third one is refine your thinking. A lot of times we get stuck because we're stuck in limiting thoughts and limiting beliefs. And we're thinking the same things about ourselves and about our situation that got us into the problem. So you have to refine your thinking. And instead of looking at things and saying, oh, I failed so much and I can't do this, instead shift your thinking to say, okay, I haven't made the best decisions, but what is it that I need to change?
That sounds
and
a little
look
like...
for the good.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds a little like we like to talk about creating a new story.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. Exactly.
Where would I want to be? And I'm going to start describing that instead of where I'm at. Yeah.
Exactly. And because the thing about it is, our minds are the most powerful things about us. And whatever we think, that's what happens, because that's what you naturally gravitate towards in terms of attracting.
Yes.
So refine your thinking, and instead of thinking about the negative all the time, shift your thinking and your focus to think about the positive. Or, and some people are like, well, it's not that easy because my situation sucks. Well, your situation is what it is, but your situation is temporary. It's not permanent.
Yes, you
Your
are
thoughts
where you are because of yesterday and the day before's thoughts.
Exactly.
So let's start creating our next several days to be awesome. And the way you do that is to start thinking in that direction.
Exactly. And then the fourth step is rejuvenate your spirit. And that is one that, especially for women, we don't do. It's a bad word to say we go on a vacation. It's a bad word to say that there's a retreat that we're taking just for us. It's unheard of that we're going to take some time where we're not serving other people and catering to other people's needs, especially if you're a mother or you're married or you're in a relationship or you've got older parents that you have to take care of. But you have to rejuvenate your spirit. And notice I didn't just say rest your body. I said rejuvenate your spirit. Because when you are pouring out all the time, or if you're in a stressful situation a lot of times, or you're dealing with something that's not all that great, our spirits tend to we take on the energy around us. And if you're taking on a lot of negative energy all the time and you have a lot of stress going on, then you're going to weigh yourself down. So sometimes you need to go off by yourself and just say, you know what, I'm going to go, my thing is water. I have to be around water. Whenever I'm feeling like I'm not centered and I'm going crazy, I go and sit next to a lake or I go to the beach or something. I have to sit near water. And that helps to calm my spirit, and it also helps to rejuvenate me and re-energize me.
That's that
and
self-care. We talk about that.
Too, yeah.
We always
emphasize
that self-care, and that's more than just, I got to go take a hot bath. That is, really looking at what is it that you love to do. And mine recently has been, I have an hour a day where I just practice guitar. I sit outside in a lawn chair with bare feet and I play my guitar for about an hour. Right. It seems like, and when I first started doing that, I'd be thinking I could be putting the dishes in the dishwasher right now. Yeah. And instead I'm being a hippie out in the backyard playing my guitar. And then after a couple of days, I was like, I'm sorry, that's going to cut into my guitar time. Mama's got to,
I love it.
I start dinner and then I go outside and I play my guitar. Yeah.
I love it. Hey guys, they're saying it's time. Oh, hang on. They're saying it's time for a little commercial break here real quick.
Break.
I know, darn those breaks. So we're going to finish up on talking about rejuvenating our spirit. And then we're going to, a little teaser, hook you. When we come back, we're going to talk about number 5.
Yes.
And we'll be back with Keisha. So hang tight, everybody, with the Naked Doctor. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
And we're speaking with Keisha Rivers Shorty today from the Cars Group and talking about some of her amazing programs that she has to offer and the way she works with people. And we were talking about her new program, Released and Ready. And she was telling us some of the aspects of how to release yourself and get ready to rock your world and be a beast. Yep. And
So what did we have so far? What were the steps? Step one was...
Yeah, we got reflect on your patterns, redirect your path, refine your thinking, and then we were just talking about rejuvenating your spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And I love what
that
you
one.
said about the dishes cutting into your guitar top.
Yeah. It started out me thinking, if I do this every day, I'm not going to get the dishes done. And then it turned into, no, I can't do the dishes right now. I got to get my guitar in.
Yeah.
Keisha, what do you do?
And you laugh about that, but one of the things that I tell a lot of people and everybody in my with my clients is that you have to, and believe it or not, it's very difficult for people to block out a full hour of time for themselves. So I say, hey, baby steps. 15 minutes 4 times a day to start. It's 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes around midday, 15 minutes in the evening, late afternoon, and 15 minutes at night. Make sure you schedule those on your calendar. You take them out just for you. It's not nap time, but it's time for you to spend with you. And then you can start scheduling, because one of the things that I always do, I'm a big lover of water. So in Charleston, I have this spot I call my dolphin spot, where if I go at a certain time, I'm almost always guaranteed to see dolphins going by. And, I've been a dolphin fanatic since I was in 2nd grade. And so I have it blocked out on my calendar, and when I'm scheduling meetings and client calls and all that, dude, we can't do it then, because that's my dolphin time. Because that's my me
You're
time.
cutting into my dolphin time. It's not going to happen.
we can't do that. No, not going to happen at all. But it centers me, and it rejuvenates my spirit. It gets me quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I always tell you can't give from an empty cup. You can't. And if you're constantly pouring out for work or for your relationships or for other people, and you don't spend some time rejuvenating your own self and pouring into yourself, then you're going to be left all used up, and somebody else is going to have to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
You have to regularly rejuvenate your spirit. You have to. It's self-love is not being selfish. So taking time for yourself is the ultimate act of care and love, not just for you, but for anybody else you're dealing with. Take it from friends of mine when I haven't had my dolphin time in a while.
I think you need some dolphin time. I'm going to say that from now on. I'd be like, I don't know what your problem is. I think you need some dolphin time.
Exactly.
And I was thinking this. Sacrifice seems to be one of those things that as a society, or just as women, as a collective consciousness of women, somehow it got encoded in us that constant act of sacrifice equals love. Mm-hmm. When really, I mean, who's really asking? No one is physically asking me to wear myself to the bone in order for their betterment. And if you don't do this for me, it's going to mean you don't love me. Where in our minds did that become something that we just feel like we are obligated to do? Like we're not really fully being a caring mom or a caring friend unless it hurts a little. Unless we're worn to the point that we have nothing left. And which in that case, you have nothing left to give when that happens.
And sometimes I know with my child, specifically thinking that's one of the areas where I tend to give the most, is that I just have a struggle setting those limits and boundaries and saying, and then I started to have that parental guilt and shame when he's like, Mom, I want to go fishing. And I'm like, but I really want to sit here and, I want to read a book, or I just want to chill for a minute. I'm tired and I've had a long day. And then I'm like, oh, but I should take him fishing.
I feel like I should.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the shoulds really get you. So I don't know that not everybody has that thought that I just have to sacrifice to the bone to, be the person that, this martyr on this planet. It's kind of like we talked about before, Chrissy, with little compromises.
Yes.
You just start making little compromises until there's just nothing left over for anybody, and you just haven't set those limits.
Right. Now, and I love my mother to death, but I watched her do exactly that when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. She, and it was their generation, and she saw her mother's generation pretty much do the same, is that the woman had that role in the family of just working and working and working and working and, and then just kind of giving out at the end of the day. and not really having a voice and not really having something. That's the way that I saw it.
The only thing they had was the quote nervous breakdown.
Yes,
unquote.
they would have the quote unquote nervous breakdown.
That was a vacay with happy pills and padded rooms. Did you know?
Oh my God, no kidding. But okay, now wait a minute. That can happen though. If you push yourself to that point, that's exactly what's happening. You just freak out and start screaming one day, and everybody's like, "Mama just lost her mind." Well, you know why?
Exactly.
Because
she didn't set her own limits and boundaries
ever in her life, and it all exploded one day because you dropped a biscuit on the floor. Like, it would be the worst. No reason for Mom to explode like that, but she would. Man, that's crazy. But this is where we get to break this cycle, and our kids don't have to see us doing that. Our kids can see us caring for ourselves, and they'll realize that that's an important part of life. That's living.
Exactly. And that's part of that whole process of refining your thinking, because when you have those life models of what you've seen done before, you know, there's a story that I heard a friend of mine say, and he was like, you know, there were two twins that grew up and their father was an alcoholic. And, you know, fast forward years after they graduated and they're adults, and one twin was very, very successful. And the other twin was an alcoholic and drunk, and he couldn't keep a job, and he was in and out of rehab and all of that. So they asked the twin who was having difficulties, you know, why are you an alcoholic? And he said, because my father was an alcoholic. And then the other twin, who was very, very successful, they said, well, why are you so successful? And he said, because my father was an alcoholic.
Wow.
So we see these life models in front of us, but the way we internalize it and determine what we're going to do with it has to do with our thinking and our way of processing that.
Yeah, what we do with the information we've been given.
Right. Because you can't tell me that, oh, well, just because my family grew up poor, or my mom was a teenage mom, or my family didn't have this, or my father was an alcoholic, or my parents were abusive, or whatever, then that gives me an excuse or a reason to do the same thing. No, change your mindset, refine your thinking, and say, you know what, because this happened, then I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
Because it's not said that you don't have a generational curse. There's nothing that says that you have to do the same thing that you've seen. You can take those models and start looking at how this relates to who you are and who you want to be and the way you want your life. So when you go through this process, you know, like I tell people, you're not a tree. You can move. You can do something different.
Yeah.
You can pull up some roots.
And it's possible that there is such a thing as a generational curse, but only if you believe it.
Only if you believe it. That's right.
Only if you believe
it. It's the people that lay in a pile going, I don't have any choice.
Yeah.
And so when you go through this whole step of looking at your life and refining your thinking, rejuvenating yourself and not working yourself to the bone to where, you know, you have those mini breakdowns when they're like, well, all I did was leave the milk on the counter. Why are you screaming bloody murder? You're gonna
you
pop
never
at some
loved
point,
me.
you know?
What? How did that get from there to there? It escalates quickly.
You're gonna pop at some point. So before you have a chance to pop, you know, take some guitar time, take some dolphin time, you know, whatever you need so that you can let that go. And then finally, the fifth step was release yourself to act. I can't tell you how many people I've run across who says, you know what, I've really secretly wanted to do this, but I can't for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Unless you give yourself permission, you're never going to do it. I mean, a good friend of mine has had an idea for an organization that she's wanted to start for the last 10 years.
Wow.
10 years. And I worked with her and helped her with putting together the website for it. And she had tears in her eyes because she's like, wow, it's real. It's actually real. And it wasn't until she got to the point where she gave herself permission to do what she really wanted to do that she started to act on it. Mm-hmm. You can read all the self-help books you want. You can go to all the motivational speaking, you know, talks you want. You can come to my programs. You can go on cruises. You can go on retreats. You can do all of this stuff. But until you take all of that information and you give yourself permission to act on it and turn it into knowledge that you're now applying, then your life is never going to change, and you're going to feel the same exact way as when you started.
You really do just have to start acting.
But once you get a taste of that, once you do schedule the guitar time and you get a couple of sessions into it, you're like, this is why this works.
Yeah.
This is why they say that. This is why I'm going to continue to do this, because this feels good and this benefits everything else that I do.
Inspired action.
Yeah.
They're saying it's time for another commercial break. Yeah, it's time. It's totally time. We got to do it. Sponsors around the world.
Sponsors are important. We can't really diss the sponsors.
Yes.
We love our sponsors. All right, Keisha, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back. And we'll talk a little bit more about releasing yourself to act, really taking inspired action. I love that. So that's good stuff.
Yep.
All right, we'll be right back with The Naked Doctor. Welcome back to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
And we have Keisha Rivers Shorty today from the Cars group talking about just stepping into your big life that you deserve.
Going into beast mode.
Beast mode. I love it. Like Marianne Williams says, who am I not to be fabulous? Right?
Yes. See, my beast mode is called Super Successful Awesome Chrissy. So in my mind, this is awesome, because I was actually doing this morning. I have a vision in my mind of Super Successful Awesome Chrissy. And when I find myself in a situation where I need to make a decision, like, should I take the time to make my protein shake or should I grab a nasty sandwich on the way to work? I'm like, what would Super Successful Awesome Chrissy do?
I love
She
it.
would drink the protein shake. So I'm like, then I'm there. I know what to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
I love it.
And I think that's great to check in with your higher super self.
Yes. Yeah. And not in a chastising way.
No.
Because would Super Successful Awesome Chrissy make herself feel bad about a difficult choice?
She would not.
No, she would not.
Exactly.
She would be like, you go, girl. You'll get right back on there.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. She's my secret little life coach.
Yes. I love it.
and it's funny because there are people who, Beyonce once said in an interview that she had an alter ego, and her name was Sasha Fierce. And Sasha Fierce was the one who was the businesswoman and the performer and, all of that, because Beyonce's natural personality was, okay, what do people think, and what is this and what is that? So sometimes you need that to be able to put yourself, out of yourself, because, again, when we're talking about, redirecting your path and kind of shifting the patterns, you have to do that initially. Any new change is going to be something that you have to consciously think through and remind yourself of as you're going forward. So that whole part that we were just talking about releasing yourself to act, is that if you don't give yourself permission to do the things that you want to do and to go after the things you want to go after and live the life that you want to live, then you're going to have all of this stuff bottled up in you. And then when you get to a certain point, you're going to either explode, or you're going to do what we call have the midlife crisis.
Yes,
where, you cut
we were
your
talking
hair
about that.
Yeah, and one of my things was after I got through my surgeries and all of that, like I've always had long hair, and after the surgeries, I chopped it all off. I mean, like Holly Berry pixie cut short, like buzz, and and then I used to be someone that I was very low key in the way that I dressed. I never wore heels. I always wore flats. And after I came out of that experience, buzz cut, I got my jewelry, I've got 6-inch heels every time you see me, at least, 5-inch minimum. And I'm always dressed to the nines, because for so long, I wanted to express myself in that way, but I kept finding reasons why. Oh, well, I'm teaching and I've got little kids, I can't do that. Or I'm working at this job and I can't do that. Or I'm working from home and I can't do that. Or I don't want, I'm already tall, I don't want to draw attention to myself or make anybody else feel bad. So when you release yourself to act, you release yourself to be who you're meant to be now, instead of waiting until you have the quote-unquote midlife crisis.
That's so
Exactly.
That so makes me think of that story about the elephant, that when the elephant is basically tied with a rope when it's little and it thinks that it can't get away, basically that you can put a small chain on that elephant when it gets big and it still thinks that it can't get away.
Yeah, because the belief is already there.
And so what we're done as children, especially like when we're trying to find that creative part, like through our teenage years, and we paint our fingernails black, or we put that string in our hair. Oh my gosh, everyone
you
freaks
can't do
out.
that.
And you're
what
trying,
are the other parents gonna think?
Yeah, So
Yeah.
we're kind of set with those limits and those limiting beliefs that I can't really express myself because, what are other people going to think?
Apparently, what I really want to be is wrong.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And then that tiny seed gets planted. If
Yeah.
you like it, if it feels good, if you want to do it, it's wrong.
Yeah.
And so we grow up, and we talked about that, laying that foundation when you're young, and those belief systems that go into place when you're in puberty, for crying out loud, when nothing is... I mean, you're full of hormones and you're questioning everything. And did my nose always look like this? So I didn't somebody tell me. And then you're laying all of through your 20s, all of that experience on top of that very flawed foundation. And at some point, that's going to crack and you have to rebuild it. And that's what we talk about all the time. Man, it all falls together.
And one
so
of the things that I tell people a lot is that when you go through, because they always say you can tell when a woman is making a change because she cuts her hair, first thing. And I said the cutting the hair is an indicative of you releasing the baggage and the things that are holding you back, especially if you've hated long hair and everybody else loved it. And so when I cut my hair and I went through this radical outer transformation, somebody asked me, oh, are you going through your midlife crisis, early? And I said, no, this is an outer representation of my inner transformation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dressing like a badass because I'm a badass now.
Yeah.
Because
I'm in superhero mode now.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. That hair was grown while you were going through something that you're trying to leave behind. I mean, it really is kind of a symbolic, and now I'm cutting that past and I'm releasing it. Yeah.
And I highly recommend that people have an alter ego, that they have some kind of superhero thing that they step into. My Dr. Tammy persona is, I can pull her out of anywhere. It's so funny. The people that know me, they can know that I'm having the most stressful day or my world's falling apart, and I step onto a stage and she just appears.
Super successful Dr. Tammy.
I don't know where she comes from. Or I could be totally stressed out and, the mic comes on for the show and, I'm like, I'm her. I'm there, or
super confident.
Yeah. I wish I could find Dr. Tammy when my son is having to come apart.
When they're screaming in the other room.
Like mean mom shows up instead or crazy woman shows up, where's Dr. Tammy but I think it's really important that I tell people, brand yourself, and find all those quirky things about yourself that you can brand and make that new thing. And, whatever that new thing is that you can step into. Luckily, Dr. Tammy's been kind of in my life for a while, and she's always been willing to show up. I think the next part of my life, there must be some other persona that, Supergirl or something that I want to step into.
And that's great that you guys talk about the things that when you go through different parts of your life, because you're allowed to change. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. The whole part of being released and ready is understanding that you don't have to be the same. Even if you're in the same environment, you don't have to stay the same. Because even if you look at a tree, it goes through seasons, and it looks different at each season. So you're allowed to be different. And because, you get kind of bored being the same person all the time. Because you're going to grow and you're going to develop and you're going to, enhance what you know about yourself, and you're going to try new things. And I think that's part of what we forget as we get older, because we get stuck in our rut.
Well, and when people get threatened, just like emotions that make people uncomfortable, like if you're crying and they get uncomfortable, people get uncomfortable with change. Everybody wants to change, but nobody wants to, do the work of transformation.
Well, don't change in a way that I don't like.
You
really need to only change on, where I like it.
I just changed my hair color from blonde to brunette like a couple months ago, and just the responses to
so
that.
Many people are like, "Oh my God, what did you do?"
Color.
Like, well,
it's hair color.
Yeah,
go back.
Life as we know it has ended. You changed your hair.
Oh my God, what universe are we in now?
So, Keisha, you're just absolutely fabulous, and I know that so many people would gain so much value working with you. Do you work with clients one-on-one? Is that your process, and how can they reach you, and what's your passion, and how do you help people the best?
Well, and actually I developed there's like 3 different levels, because I understand that people are different, and, the teacher in me has to accommodate for different learning styles. Mm-hmm. So I have a self-study component where if you want to work on the premise, on the concepts, but you're one of those people that, you know what, I need to take this information, digest it, figure it out, apply some stuff, and try it on my own before I come in to work with you, then you've got a self-study component.
Oh, great.
Then I have people that do well in groups, so I have a small group cohort. So about once every 3 months, every 90 days, I'll start a new cohort where there's a group of about maybe 5 to 7 of us that work together on specific things that you want to address. And I actually just started a cohort this month for a group of ladies that's going through my business group. And then the other level is I work with people individually. And so if you want to do that, then we'll outline what your goals are and what your strategies are and specifically what are the things that we're going to be working on and how to hold you accountable for that and how to measure that. So you can find me on my website. It's karsgroup.com, Kars group, for knowledge always reigns supreme. And then on the website, it's got information. You can sign up for a group. You can actually schedule a 15-minute assessment with me, which is free.
Great.
And so there's a calendar, and we can talk about what it is that you're looking for, what your goals are, what you need, because I specialize in strategies for success both personally and professionally.
That's awesome.
And one of the other great things I have for people who are listening to this broadcast is I have a special gift. It's there's a new book I'm writing called Released and Ready, The Art of Living Boldly.
Love it.
And so it talks about how you live your authentic self and your bold self, and it talks about the journey that I went through, but also specific life strategies that you can apply and start using now so that you can start making some changes in your life for the better. And so if you go to, there's a special link, it's bit.ly/carsfreegift, and you'll be able to get that, put the information in and be able to get that.
Let's say that one more time for everybody that just grabbed a pen.
Yeah.
Say that for me one more time.
It's bit.ly/cars, Kars, free gift.
Awesome. And we'll put a link to that on our website and our
Yes.
Facebook page too.
Awesome. Yeah. And so they'll be able to go there. You can, and it's really, I don't make the link public except for if I'm, doing an appearance or a speaking engagement or on a show. So you won't find it on my website. So you'll have to go directly to that link. So you guys putting it on your Facebook page and everything is great because then your listeners will be able to access it.
Awesome. Boy, that's
Awesome.
good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
You've been a wonderful guest. I hope this has been really
This has
inspiring.
flown
for a lot of
by
people.
once
Yes,
again.
very fast. So we'll have to
Yeah.
have you back very soon. Hope you'll do another guest appearance.
Gosh, what will we talk
would love
about?
to.
That'd be
What
awesome.
will we talk about? I don't even know.
We always come up with something.
Oh, yeah. We don't ever have to worry about that.
Thank you so much, Keisha. And you've got a Facebook page too, right? What was
Yeah,
your-
my Facebook page, you can find me, Keisha A. Rivers or Keisha Rivers Shorty. You can find me on Facebook. That way, just do a search.
Awesome.
Probably
Sweet.
the only one.
Go
Friend.
stalk her on Facebook.
Yes. Go check it out.
Learn all about her. And just Google her. I did that too. Just YouTube,
Yeah.
Google. She's got great content.
Isn't that great
out
how you
there,
can do
so
that
I
now?
Love it. Love
So
it.
cool.
Love it. Thank you so much, Keisha. You've been absolutely fabulous. Thanks for sharing
Thank
your
you
heart.
so much.
And we
This
just,
was so much fun.
just love you to death. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Talk to
All
you-
right. You
talk
guys have a
soon.
great day.
All right, everybody have a blessed week. And
Yes.
we'll see you back here next week on The Naked Doctor Show.
Brought a body cooking, dirty body for the time, sister hiding